Hi everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Ungrownups video transmission. I'm your host Mark, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Superman movie masters. These are going to be from DC Comics and Mattel, and these are going to be the first in their 6-inch line of, as you can see, adult collector action figures. This is Wave 1. It consists of Superman, Jor-El, and also General Zod, but General Zod in his skin-tight kind of black suit. And I'm just not really fond of that appearance, mainly because I know that the Kryptonian armor version of General Zod is coming out. I know that's coming soon, and so I think I'd rather hold off and get that one. So that's why I didn't pick up General Zod. And clearly, he was the one with the most action figures on the shelf. I only saw one Superman and one Jor-El, and didn't think I was going to pick him up, but his armor is really nice, and the likeness to Russell Crowe looks really, really, really good as well. So let me spin these around here real quickly, show you on the back. You can see the General Zod figure. And I'm not going to take the time to read this. If you guys want to read the read the captions, you certainly can take the time to do so. Just pause the video and check them out. But yeah, these figures look really, really good, with the exception of the head sculpt on General Zod. I'm just not quite, I don't think that's quite Michael Shannon. It's close, but not really there. And without, none of these figures come with accessories. And just with that skin-tight black suit, I think, who knows? He may spend the bulk of the film in that suit. I'm not sure. But, Feora is actually going to come in her armor as well. And so I think I'd rather wait and get the armored version. So let's get these bad boys opened up and out of the package and take a closer look. All right, so we've gotten both figures opened up and out of the package. And I didn't actually notice this, but in each card was an actual stand for the figure to stand on. I think they're a little small. Superman's got a hard time standing on his base, but Jor-El seems to just barely fit on his. And I don't know if this will change in the future, but Superman's was actually on a separate piece of plastic on the back of the card, and that's probably due to his cape and how the cape actually fit outside the blister, while Jor-El's was actually in the same blister as the figure itself. So that may just be the difference. And both of them are this, I think it's the exact same mold. It's just a different paint, but they do have the texture, the one that's the new texture on his suit. I'm looking on my camera, and his suit's really coming in a much brighter and more metallic looking than it actually is. In hand, in person, it's actually a really deep blue. It's somewhat shiny. I mean, it is catching the light, but it's not nearly as metallic looking as it looks on camera. So I do apologize for that. But spinning it around, as we saw in the trailer, Superman does not have the S on his cape. And just for the sake of doing so, I will spin Jor-El around. And we're going to take a much closer look at both of these figures. I gotta say, these figures are definitely stepped up from the Batman Movie Masters series. I think they're sculpted by the same people. I think it's Mattel's in-house sculpting department. And some of them Batman figures were okay, and then some of them were just not so great. But I'm definitely thinking that the likenesses, the sculpting is definitely better on these than the last Dark Knight Rises figures we got from the same company. So why don't we zoom in on each one and take a closer look. So zooming in here on Superman, you can see a lot of the fine detail work that you can see in the trailer. It's absolutely all throughout. When you on the film, the actual suit's got this very fine texture, even on the S shield, and that's present here in the figure as well. But you've got your, by now at this point, your fairly standard 6-inch Mattel buck, where you've got the pin socket shoulders, a cut joint, a swivel here at the upper bicep, a standard joint at the elbow, 360 swivel here on each fist. The head is on a peg. You've got a cut joint here at the waist, and then that very standard Mattel upper thigh hip system. A cut joint right above each knee, a single joint at each knee, and then single your just standard swivel or joint at the ankle. I would have liked a double jointed knee. I think, especially with Superman and maybe Zod, I think would have helped out with some posability. Uh, but I got to tell you, I think that looks like Henry Cavill, if not a little soft, but it does. I think they really kind of got that sort of chiseled look. In hand. I don't want to say, that I don't want to say that thing, where it's like, oh, he looks better in hand than he does on camera, because clearly the camera's picking up exactly what he looks like. Um, but no, I mean, in hand, I really think it looks very, very close to Henry Cavill. And again, I'm noticing on camera, maybe it's just my camera, this is coming in really blue and really metallic, and I promise you, in hand, it's a much more darker, muted blue and not nearly as shiny. So I'm not sure what's going on there with the camera, and I will sort of like spin it around. He just has some sloppy red paint right there on the back of his neck, but hopefully I can kind of chip that off. The one downside to the neck articulation is there is no up and down. As you can see, that's about as far as it goes, and it comes right back down again. So not too happy about that. A Superman figure really needs to be able to tilt his head all the way back for getting those really, really good flying poses. So let's zoom in here a little bit closer and take a closer look at that head sculpt. Okay, so here we are. We've zoomed way in on that head sculpt. And again, from my point of view, where I'm sitting behind the camera, to me, it really looks like Henry Cavill. But I think he looks a little more happy, a little more maybe in the lip area. I think maybe his lips are a little more fuller than I think Henry's are. But I think, they really captured the hair, I think, is pretty spot on. And the intensity in the eyes, I think if you were to cover that up, I think that right there is like spot on Henry. Whereas from there down, it's a little... I don't know, it's a little soft to me, but just kind of like spinning it around so you can see more detail, and we've all seen from the trailer, I mean, Henry makes a really good Superman. So again, I just wish that this head, I'm afraid I'm going to knock him off the base, but it just, whatever little bit it does give, it just goes right back. And I just want to lift this up so you can see some of the detail on the outfit. Really, really nice detail. I'm surprised they got that fine textured detail all the way through the entire suit. And looks a lot like the new 52 Superman. So if you're keeping up in comics, this is exactly what he looks like in the comic. Very, very comic accurate and film accurate. Looks really, really good. Okay, just playing around with a couple of poses here. I think one of the bad things about the head sculpt being so nice, and I understand that we don't want to make Superman look mean and gritty. I mean, he's not Batman, but one of the things about this head sculpt being so nice and friendly looking is that when you put him in sort of like some fighting poses, he really doesn't look mean and menacing. He doesn't really look like he's, getting ready to do battle with anybody. So, that's a downside. But I love the posability. I love the articulation in this guy. He looks really, really good. I think you're going to be able to get him in some really nice poses, for standing around. And, if kids were to pick these figures up too, I think they'd get a lot of playability out of them. I don't think they're fragile enough that I can't let my 2.5-year-old play with them. I actually think I would let him, come in there. He likes to come and climb on the bed while I'm editing videos or doing work or whatever, and play with some of the figures that are back in my cabinet. And I think this is one I would let him play with. So let me see if I can get him in like a really good flying pose. I have my own sort of flight stand for that. Let's see if we can get him in a good flying pose. Okay, so looking at him in one more sort of flight pose. Because of the way the thigh is at the top of the hip, you can get some nice standing poses, but you can't really get that classic knee up and out kind of Superman flying pose. But you can get the arms over the head, which is really nice, and that's a step in the right direction. But man, I really, really, really wish you could get that head up more than you can. It is really like a static pose almost. You can swivel it, all the way around, but I tell you, any kind of backward motion you give it, it's just going to flip right back forward again. And it may be because of his hair. I'm not sure, but man, I got to tell you, I am really, really impressed with these figures. They're a lot better than I thought they were going to be. And so, yeah, I really dig this guy. He's going to look really nice on my desk. So let's take a quick look at Jor-El, and see how he stacks up. Okay, taking a look at Jor-El here, I can, what's really nice and what strikes me right off the bat is that how much the colors and the armor really remind me of Prometheus, and I think that's just the juxtaposition of like the blue and the gunmetal, or the and this is really showing up a lot darker than it is in person. This armor really has a bronze look to it, and maybe we'll see that when we zoom in. But really good. Your basic articulation. Head can go all the way around. Arms are on a ball joint. Got a pin socket in the arm, and a standard joint at the elbow, and then 360 degrees on the wrist. And this is a very soft, pliable rubber right here, and so it really doesn't hinder. I mean, you can actually go all the way up because it's actually connected to the shoulder pad, and since that's connected to the shoulder, you can actually go all the way around with that arm without breaking that rubber. So that was a really nice decision by Mattel. Your standard Mattel leg system here at the hips, cut joint right above the knee, single point on the knee, and then standard joint at the ankle. So as of yet, we don't know if we're going to get to see Jor-El in any sort of action poses. We don't know what kind of action he's actually going to get into in the film. So for now, stoic father, that's how we're going to leave it. So let's zoom in a little bit and take a closer look at some of the finer detail in this awesome armor. Okay, so zooming in on Jor-El, as you can see, a pretty accurate representation of Russell Crowe. I think it's even coming across on camera, and I actually think he looks a little better in hand. I can definitely tell that that's Russell Crowe. I mean, to me, that's Russell Crowe all day long. And I don't remember, and somebody please correct me down in the comments below, but I don't remember if we've ever gotten a mass market Russell Crowe action figure before. I'm trying to remember if there were any toys for the Robin Hood movie that he was in. I don't remember there being any. So I don't know if we've ever gotten one. If we have and I'm missing it, please let me know in the comments below. But this is a really, really good figure. I love the armor. Let me see if I can get back out a little bit so you can look at this armor. Very, very nicely detailed armor. Really, really, really cool. And I love the whole thing that they're doing with this whole story about the S not being an S, but it being a symbol for the word hope. It meaning hope. I really like that whole idea, making the S more than just an S. And as you can see underneath in the blue area, there is some very nice textured detail as well. You can see some sloppy blue paint over the sort of the bronze armor right here in the front. I couldn't help that. I noticed it in the store, but it's the only JorEl figure they had, and I didn't feel like, going to another store to try to track down another version. But lots of really good detail. And as you know, the soft like tubing on his arms doesn't hinder. We saw that in the articulation. Just really, really, really cool. Love the detail. Here, I'm kind of okay with him not having double jointed knees. It may have helped a little, but I'm okay with it. And I need to go back and look at the trailer again, because I thought maybe in one scene in the trailer, I thought JorEl had a cape. But I could be wrong. But if he does, it may have been nice to sort of have a cape on this guy. He looks like he would need one. Man, that's a really good head sculpt. For the Movie Masters series, which, to me haven't been the best at times, I think this guy looks fantastic. Okay, so we've taken a closer look at both of these figures, and I got to tell you, like I said, I think these two head sculpts are actually a lot closer to the actors than the Michael Shannon head sculpt on Zod. So I was, that and the fact that he didn't have the armor, I was quite happy to leave him on the shelf. But as you guys have also seen, too, zooming in, there's some sloppy paint apps here and there, and, there's not a lot of accessories, outside of the bases. And I got to tell you, these figures are not cheap. I think they were $15.97, and I got them at Walmart. So I can expect that price to be higher, probably upwards of $17.99 at probably Toys R Us, and who knows what they're going to come in at Target. But probably around the time the movie comes out, which is only about a month away at this point, they'll probably go on sale. There'll be some big sale around the time the film comes out, and you can get these figures for cheaper. If so, definitely wait to get them then. But yeah, at $15.99, that's about as much as I'd want to pay for these figures anymore. And maybe $12.99 would be better. So we'll see what Target has them at. But they look great. They're very movie accurate. I think they're a lot closer to the on-screen counterparts than what we got with the Dark Knight Rises figures. So for right now, I think this Ungrownup's going to give them a thumbs up. Definitely, if you can at least find Superman, pick him up. He looks really good. Wait for the other version of Zod. I think it's going to be much better. And if you just have to have him, get Jor-El, because that armor is quite nice. So that's going to about do it for this review. As always, we're going to ask if you dug it. Please like, comment, or subscribe. Be sure to check out the conversation over at facebook.com/ungrownups. And be sure to check out our podcast, which is new every 2 weeks. And you can download that at iTunes or get it right from ungrownups.com. So until next time, peace.